I'm Nicole Perry, I'm 32, and I spent most of my life being my family's maid, bank, and emotional punching bag. Also, my little brother could play future CEO. Let's call him the investment. Because that's what he was to my parents. Not a son. A project. A brand. A walking stock they kept pouring everything into. And me? I was the silent shareholder they never acknowledged. I paid in. I cooked. I cleaned. I sacrificed. I wired him money like a private ATM. Until one warm Saturday night in my mom's front yard in Raleigh, North Carolina, when the investment tossed an apron into my lap and said, in front of everyone, "You should stick to playing maid. You're not fit to sit at the big table." The entire table laughed. My mother. My father. Our cousin. His buddy. So I smiled, opened my banking app right there in front of them, closed the account that had poured over $108,000 into his app. And I walked away. He thought he'd humiliated me. He had no idea that he'd just triggered the moment his entire fantasy life would start collapsing. Before I go back and unpack everything that led to this, do me a favor. If you've ever had a golden child sibling, if you've ever been treated like the maid, the bank, or the capable one who doesn't need anything, hit subscribe, tap like, and tell me in the comments what your last straw was, or what you think it might be. It really helps the channel, and honestly, reading your stories makes me feel a little less crazy. Okay. So, how did we get here? Let me rewind. I grew up on the outskirts of Raleigh. Think quiet cul-de-sac, azalea bushes, neighbors who all know each other's dogs by name. I was firstborn, Nicole. Then 4 years later came my brother, Logan, aka the investment. From the second he arrived, my parents talked about him like a startup. Our future leader. The one who will take the business to the next level. He's got something special, you can just tell. My dad, William, ran a construction firm. My mom, Betty, was a stay-at-home mom with a clipboard brain. Everything was lists, schedules, charts. And right in the middle of all those plans was Logan. Me? I was the helper. The reliable one. The nice girl. People would say, "Nicole is so mature for her age. Nicole's such a good big sister. Nicole can handle anything." That sounds like a compliment until you realize it's code for, "We're going to put everything on her shoulders and never check if she's okay." My first real memory of the dynamic is the bike. I was 6. I'd spent months saving loose change in a jelly jar, quarters from couch cushions, $1 from a neighbor for raking leaves, a few crumpled bills from grandparents. I had one goal, that shiny red bike in the window at Harper's Hardware. I knew every detail. The chrome handlebars. The little bell. The white seat with red stitching. When Mom finally said we could go pick it up, I thought I was going to burst. I remember hugging her waist in the parking lot. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." The guy at the store wheeled it out and I swear the world got brighter for a second. 2 days later, I was drawing with chalk in the driveway when Logan, who was 2 at the time, toddled over and pointed at the bike. His face scrunched up. He reached for the handlebars. When his fingers slipped, he did what toddlers do best. He screamed. Mom rushed outside, scooped him up, bouncing him. "What's wrong, baby? What do you want?" He pointed at the bike and wailed louder. Mom turned to me with that tone I would grow to hate. "Nicole, sweetheart. Your brother needs this to build his balance and strength. You can walk to school. Be a good big sister and let him have it." I remember freezing. The chalk in my hand. The bike standing there like a friend I was losing. "But I saved my money for months," I whispered. "It's mine." Her smile tightened just a little. "And that's why you're such a good girl. Logan needs the opportunities. You'll have plenty of chances, you always land on your feet." There it was. The phrase. Logan needs the opportunities. I heard it for the first time that day. I would hear it 1,000 times after. I handed over the bike. Not because I wanted to. Because at 6 years old, I already knew that in our house, Logan's needs always won. The next morning, I walked to school while Logan rode my bike up and down the driveway, my mom cheering. It never stopped at that bike. In elementary school, I discovered I loved drawing. My art teacher, Mrs. Clark, pulled Mom aside one afternoon after class. I remember sitting on the bench by the door, swinging my legs, listening. Betty, your daughter has real talent, Mrs. Clark said. If you can, I'd recommend the advanced art program at the community center. It's not expensive, and it could open doors for her later on. My chest puffed with quiet pride. On the drive home, I waited for Mom to say something. When she didn't, I finally asked, "Do you think I can do the art program?" Mom sighed. "Oh, honey, I wish we could. But you know your brother is struggling with his reading. His tutor is already so expensive. We can't do both right now. Logan needs the extra help more." I shrank back into the seat. "Okay," I said. "Maybe next year." Next year never came. When I was 12, I got invited to a weekend enrichment thing at a science museum. They'd seen a project I did for the science fair and wanted a group of kids to come do workshops. It wasn't even that big of a deal, but my heart was set on it. Logan wanted to try out for a traveling soccer team. "Look, Nicole," Dad said, "these teams are where boys build character. He'll learn leadership, teamwork. You know how it is. We can't be driving in two directions every weekend, and those fees are no joke. This science thing is just for fun." I went to my room and cried into my pillow, then got up, wiped my face, and helped Mom find Logan's shin guards. Every time, they framed it as doing what's best for the family. Every time, the cost was quietly taken from my side of the scale. The only person who consistently looked at all this and went, "What the hell?" was my Aunt Joan. Joan is my mom's younger sister. Where Mom is soft-voiced and image-conscious, Joan is blunt, practical, and allergic to BS. She works as an accountant in Durham and owns exactly 0 pairs of shoes that hurt to walk in. One Christmas when I was about 15, the whole family was over. We're in the living room, wrapping up the night, and Logan grabs my brand new sketchbook off the coffee table. "Hey, what's this?" he says, already flipping through it. "Logan, give it back," I say, reaching for it. He laughs and holds it out of reach. "Relax, Picasso. No one's going to steal your little doodles." He starts drawing a mustache on one of my portraits. "Logan!" I shout. Mom looks over from the kitchen. "Nicole, lower your voice. He's just teasing." "I've been working on that all week," I say. I feel that familiar burning behind my eyes. Logan tosses the sketchbook onto the couch, already bored. "God, you're so sensitive." Later, when I'm in the guest room pretending to read, Jo knocks once and slips inside. "Hey," she says softly. "That was rough." I shrug. "It's fine. He's just being Logan." She sits on the edge of the bed and looks at me, really looks at me. "Nicole, I need you to hear something," she says. "The way your parents treat you and Logan? It's not normal. Or fair. They're raising him to think he is entitled to everything that's yours. And raising you to believe you should be grateful to be his doormat." The words land like a bomb. "They're just trying to help him," I mumble. "He needs the opportunities." Joan snorts. "No. He needs consequences. You need opportunities. You're the one who actually uses them." She takes my hand. "Don't give up your future for him. I'm serious. Set boundaries now or you're going to wake up at 40 and realize your whole life was spent carrying him." I nod like I'm listening, but part of me still can't imagine saying no to my parents. To Logan. But another part of me files it away. Fast forward a couple of years. It's my senior year of high school. I'm exhausted, always juggling part-time shifts at a diner, AP classes, and taking every free freelance design job I can find. I'm designing flyers for local bands, logos for Etsy shops, anything that lets me create. One afternoon, I get home and there's a thick envelope in the mailbox. NYU. My hands shake as I open it. "Congratulations. We are pleased to offer you admission." My knees practically give out. I sit right down on the porch steps, laughing and crying at the same time. I did it. At dinner, I slide the letter across the table. "I got in," I say, trying to keep my voice from shaking. Mom reads a few lines, smiles. Dad just nods thoughtfully. "That's big," he says. "NYU is no joke." For a minute, I let myself think it's happening. Then a few days later, Logan gets a letter of his own, from some elite prep school program he'd applied to for a gap year type thing before college. He didn't get in. He sulks in his room for hours. Mom hovers outside his door with hot cocoa like someone died. That evening, Dad calls a family meeting into the living room. You'd think they were about to announce a bankruptcy or divorce. So, he starts, we've been thinking about the best path forward for the family. My stomach drops. I already know. NYU is incredibly expensive, he continues. And with Logan needing to strengthen his college prospects after this disappointment, we're in a tight spot. Mom chimes in. The prep program he was rejected from suggested some alternative courses and tutoring that could give him another shot next year. But it's costly, Nicole. And we just can't afford that in out-of-state NYU tuition right now. I stare at them. So what are you saying? I ask. Even though I know. Dad looks at me with that this is the difficult but necessary decision expression. We think it's best if you defer NYU for a year, he says. Take some classes at community college. Work. Save up. Help us cover Logan's program. You're so capable, Nicole. You'll thrive wherever you are. But he really needs this. There it is again. He needs. I want to say no. I want to scream. I want to wave the letter in their faces and remind them that I earned it, that no one handed it to me. Instead, I hear myself say, if that's what's best for everyone. Okay. Mom hugs me. You're such a good big sister, she murmurs. Logan's so lucky to have you. Lucky. Right. Weeks later, I watch him walk into some elite college prep building with a leather backpack my parents bought him as a fresh start gift. I drive to my community college campus, clutching a second-hand backpack I bought myself. A rock. That's what I am. There to be stood on. Somehow, despite all of that, I patched together a life. I finished community college, transferred to a state university, worked nights to pay off loans, and stumbled into Raleigh's freelance creative scene. It started small. A $200 logo for a local coffee shop. $150 for social media graphics for a yoga studio. A few hundred for a website header for a nonprofit. I took whatever I could get, said yes to everything, learned like my life depended on it. Because it did. By my late 20s, things finally started clicking. I built a portfolio. I learned how to say, my rate is, without apologizing. I landed contracts with local tech startups. One of my designs ended up in a case study with an Adobe partner. My annual income hit around $120,000. I invested in my own gear, a powerful laptop, a huge monitor, color-calibrated screen, a good chair. I turned the second bedroom of my downtown apartment into a proper studio. I even saw my name in a local article once. Raleigh designer Nicole Perry's bold murals bring color to the city. For the first time, I saw a future that belonged to me. Right as I was finally getting stable, Logan called. He was 24 then, fresh out of business school, full of buzzwords and big dreams. He wanted to create an app, connector, some sort of platform to link contractors with clients. He called late one rainy evening. I remember the water streaking down my window, my cursor hovering over a half-finished logo. Sis. My favorite investor, he joked, like it was charming. I laughed weakly. What's up, Logan? He launched into a polished pitch. Okay, so imagine Uber, but for small construction projects. We'll disrupt the market, support guys like Dad, and make it easy for homeowners. I've got devs lined up, a co-founder, even a pitch meeting with a VC firm. I just need some bridge funding. I already felt tired. How much? I asked. He hesitated for half a second, then said. Honestly? Not much for someone doing as well as you. $3,000 a quarter. Just for a while. You're making, what, 6 figures now? It's nothing. Family equity, right? You'll get it back when we IPO. I almost said no. But right on cue, my phone buzzed with Mom's name. I switched calls. Nicole. Did Logan tell you about his idea? She asked, breathless. He has such a mind for business. He just needs a chance. Think of what your father built from nothing. Logan can take it even further. Then the punchline. He needs this investment to prove himself. You're doing so well. You can help. Dad texted me a minute later. Be the team player you've always been. This is how families build legacies. And just like that, I was back in the script. Okay, I told Logan. I'll help for a bit. A bit turned into 3 years. Every 3 months, I wired him $3,000 without fail. That's over $108,000. More than most people ever have in savings. No contract. No equity. No official arrangement. Just family obligation and guilt. He'd send the same text every time. Funds received. Thanks. No thank you so much, this means the world. No how are you doing? No want to see a demo of what we built with your money? Just. Transactional. At family gatherings, Mom would beam at Logan. Our entrepreneur, she'd say, patting his hand. We're all investing in his future. I'd stand at the stove, stirring potatoes, and wonder when exactly we meant me. Let me paint you a picture of what family time looked like in those years. Thanksgiving, 2 years before the apron incident. Mom and Dad's house in Cary. I drive over at dawn, my trunk full, turkey, ingredients, a pumpkin pie, a bag of fresh herbs from the farmer's market. Logan, of course, is super busy with investor calls and can only come for the meal. I spend hours on my feet. Brining the turkey. Chopping onions until my eyes burn. Mashing potatoes. Setting 3 long tables in the backyard with mismatched, charmingly rustic decor I designed. By noon, I'm already sweaty and tired. Logan strolls in around 1 p.m. in a pressed shirt, talking on the phone, laughing. Yeah, man, the app's gonna explode next year, he says, brushing past me to hug Mom. Mom grabs his face. Look at you. You've been working so hard, she gushes. Nicole, make him a plate, he's starving. Dad claps him on the back. Tell us about that investor meeting, he says. Everyone quiet down, let Logan talk. I quietly carve the turkey while he holds court at the head of the table, describing burn rate and user acquisition to people who don't know what those mean but love the sound of them. No one asks about the mural I just finished. No one mentions that half the food came from my wallet. Later, as I'm scraping plates in the kitchen, Mom walks in. You're so good at this hosting thing, she says. Logan could never pull this off. He's too busy with the big stuff. I want to scream. Instead, I say. Yeah. He's very busy. Now we finally get back to that Saturday night. Logan's birthday. Mom calls me 3 weeks ahead of time. We're doing something special in the front yard, she says. Lights, barbecue, the works. Nothing crazy, just family. Which, again, in my family means, I do the work, they enjoy the ambience. I show up at 4:15 p.m. with my car packed to bursting. White linen tablecloths. Candles. Wildflowers in mason jars. Coolers full of marinated ribs, potato salad, coleslaw, lemonade. The yard is empty. Dad still at a job site, Logan running late, Mom inside getting ready. I set everything up. Alone. I wipe down the picnic table, lay out the linens, arrange the flowers, wrap silverware in napkins. String fairy lights from the old oak tree until my shoulders ache. Light citronella candles. Marinate and grill the ribs, checking their internal temperature with a thermometer because God forbid anyone gets sick. By the time the lights glow and the food is ready, I smell like smoke and sweat. It looks beautiful. It looks like a magazine spread. Logan finally shows up around 7:45 p.m. with his friend Kevin and exactly 1 six-pack. Smells good, Kevin says. Who catered? I open my mouth, but Mom beats me to it. We did it all for Logan, she says, hugging him. Our birthday boy deserves the best. No mention of me. We sit down around 8:15. Mom at one end, Dad at the other, Logan center. Kevin next to him. Our cousin Patricia. Me at the side. The compliments start flying, all directed at Logan. Tell us about your big launch. How are those investors? You're going to be famous one day. My food is just fuel, background. Halfway through dessert, strawberry shortcake I made from scratch, Logan's eyes land on the apron I left on my chair from grilling. He picks it up. Twirls it. Looks at me with that smirk he's had since he was 10. I know something bad is about to come out of his mouth. Hey, Nicole, he says loudly, holding the apron up. You should stick to playing Maid. You're not fit to sit at the big table with us. He tosses the apron into my lap like he's tossing scraps to a dog. For a split second, there's silence. Then everyone laughs. Mom literally slaps her knee. Oh, Logan, she wheezes. You're terrible. But you have to admit, Nicole does make a wonderful hostess. Dad shakes his head, chuckling. He's got your sense of humor, Betty, he says. You always were quick with a jab. Kevin nearly chokes. Burn. He yells. Savage. Patricia covers her mouth, trying to stifle giggles. I sit there, staring at the apron in my lap. My ears ring. My heart pounds. It's like every sacrifice, every tiny humiliation, every time I swallowed my hurt, suddenly lined up in a row behind me. Something clicks. Something snaps. Something wakes up. I stand up slowly, carefully place the apron on the table. Got it, I say. My voice sounds strange in my own ears, calm, almost curious. Thanks for the clarity. Logan smirks. Finally, you get it, he says. I reach into my bag, pull out my phone, and open my banking app. The shared account I set up years ago, the one I used for his transfers, stares back at me. Balance showing the last bit I'd left in there. I tap close account. Confirm. The little success checkmark pops up. The sound is tiny, but in that moment it's the loudest thing in the world. I put my phone away, look straight at Logan. And those quarterly support payments? I add. Those stop too. The laughter dies instantly. Logan's face drains of color. What? He says. Mom blinks. Nicole, what are you doing? I push my chair back. Clocking out, I say. The maid's done for good. And I walk. Down the path. Into my car. Out of that driveway. I don't run. I don't apologize. I don't look back. My hands are shaking on the steering wheel, but for the first time in a long time, my head is clear. Back in my apartment, the adrenaline wears off and the reality crash hits. What did I just do? I sit on my couch, still in my smoke-scented clothes, the city lights flickering through my window, and my phone starts exploding. Call after call after call. Logan. Mom. Dad. Logan again. I let it ring for a while. Finally, I pick up one of Logan's calls, put it on speaker. What the hell is wrong with you? He screams. Do you have any idea what you just did? You tanked my entire launch. My devs are expecting payment tomorrow. You closed the account? You can't do that. Reopen it. Now. There it is. No apology for the apron. No are you okay? Just rage that his money just vanished. I lean back, staring at the ceiling. Wrong number, I say softly. There's a pause. What? The maid quit, I say. For good. He sputters. Nicole, this isn't a joke. You owe me. You've been sending that money for years. You can't just stop. I hang up. My phone rings again. I block his number. Mom leaves me a voicemail. Nicole, really? You embarrassed your brother at his own birthday and then sabotaged his launch? You know how hard he's worked. You're overreacting to a silly joke. Call me back and fix this. We raised you better than this. Dad texts. This is impulsive and immature. You're burning bridges over hurt feelings. Fix the account and we can talk. I turn the phone off. Sit there in the dark. And let the silence wrap around me. The next day, I wake up late, my head thick. I turn my phone on and immediately regret it. Notifications flood in. I open Facebook and there it is. Logan's post, public, with a dramatic header. Betrayed by family. The caption. Tomorrow was supposed to be the launch of our app. Years of work. But at the last second, my own sister pulled all funding and closed our joint account out of spite and jealousy. I trusted her. She'd promised to support me until we got investors on board. Instead, she sabotaged everything. Lesson learned, even family will knife you in the back if you start to succeed. He attaches a cropped screenshot of transfers from me to him, leaving out any context that they were voluntary, uncontracted, one-sided. On LinkedIn, he posts a more corporate version. Hard truth, your inner circle can be your biggest liability. A key informal backer pulled out on the eve of our launch. Painful, but we move forward. Founders, protect your vision. He doesn't name me there, but we share enough context that people connect the dots. Comments roll in. That's awful, man. Stay strong. Jealousy is ugly. You'll bounce back. Cut toxic people out, bro. Meanwhile, my inbox is filling up with messages from clients. One email subject line: saw a post, concerned. Hey Nicole, I came across a post from someone in your family about a project falling apart because of pulled funding. I hope everything's okay, but we're a bit concerned about reliability and drama. Let's pause our upcoming rebrand until things settle. Another. We've decided to go another direction on the logo project. Wishing you the best. I feel this cold, sinking dread. He isn't just calling me names in private. He's trying to poison my livelihood, too. And that's when a new voicemail pops up. Aunt Joan. I hit play. Nicole. It's Joan. I saw that hot mess your brother posted, she says, voice tight with anger. Listen to me, you are not the villain here. They've been using you as a walking emergency fund and a maid since you were old enough to hold a broom. Remember when Logan crashed your dad's car and they used your savings to cover the deductible so it wouldn't follow him? Or when you gave up NYU so he could go to prep school? This isn't new. This is just the first time you said no. They're not freaking out because you're cruel. They're freaking out because the gravy train stopped. Don't cave. Block them if you have to. Focus on your work. I'm proud of you. Call me when you're ready. I've got your back. I sit there with tears finally spilling over, phone clutched to my chest. Someone sees it. Someone remembers. Someone doesn't think I'm crazy. You know that feeling when you've been gaslit for so long that another person's clear words feel like oxygen? That. Let me pause here and ask you something. If you were in my shoes, your brother publicly trashing you, your parents calling you selfish, clients getting spooked, would you have apologized and reopened the money tap? Or would you have held the line? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm genuinely curious how many of you would have done what I did. Or maybe walked away even sooner. A couple of days later, Karma decided to join the chat. I got an email from Mark Hayes, the venture capitalist Logan had been bragging about for months. Subject: Connector Funding Update. Dear Nicole, I'm writing to inform you that Hayes Ventures will be withdrawing our tentative $50,000 commitment to the Connector project, effective immediately. In reviewing the situation, it's become clear that the venture has been heavily dependent on unsecured, informal funding from a family member. This lack of financial independence and the recent fallout make the risk profile unacceptable to our firm. We require founders to maintain clear professional boundaries and stable funding structures. We wish you the best in your future endeavors. Sincerely, Mark Hayes. He CC'd Logan. He didn't say your sister ruined this. He essentially said, we don't fund businesses built on mommy, daddy, and sister's wallets. Grow up. I forwarded the email to a private folder, a little smirk tugging at my lips. Not because his life was falling apart, but because the narrative he'd built, where I was the saboteur, was cracking. A couple hours later, my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. This is Nicole, I answered. Miss Perry, this is Sarah Blake, attorney at law. I represent your brother, Logan, a clipped voice said. We're exploring a potential civil claim regarding breach of financial commitment. I almost laughed. I'm sorry. What? My client reports an ongoing quarterly funding arrangement for his business, which you terminated without notice, resulting in damages exceeding $75,000 in lost opportunities and investor confidence, she continued. We believe a judge may view this as an implied contract. So let me get this straight, I said. You're threatening to sue me over a verbal, undefined arrangement where I voluntarily gave my brother money. And then decided to stop? She hesitated. We'd prefer to solve this through mediation. If you simply resume the prior payments, we can avoid escalation. I sat quietly for a moment. Miss Blake, I said, there is no written contract. No terms. No signatures. Just a grown man who believed he was entitled to my income forever. If you'd like to file, feel free. I'll happily bring a record of every transfer, every message from my parents pressuring me, and every public post he's made defaming me. Do you really want that on the record? Silence. We'll be in touch, she said, and hung up. They never filed anything. Because bluffs only work on people still afraid to stand up. When manipulation and threats didn't work, my parents tried the nuclear option. The family meeting. Dad sent an email to the entire family list. Subject: Mandatory meeting, Thursday 7 p.m. Non-negotiable. Nicole, your behavior has shattered the family. Logan is in crisis because of your rash decision. We are going to sit down and resolve this. You will attend, apologize, and recommit to supporting him until he's stable again. Family unity is more important than pride. Aunt Joan forwarded it to me with, "I'll be there. Don't go alone." Thursday night, I pulled into their driveway. The house looked the same as always, but it felt smaller, tighter, like it knew I didn't belong there anymore. Inside, the scene was set. Mom on the couch, clutching a tissue. Dad by the fireplace, arms crossed. Logan slouched in an armchair, eyes red like he hadn't slept. Joan on the far side of the couch, back straight, jaw clenched. I sat next to her. She gave my hand a quick squeeze. Dad started. "Nicole," he said, "we're here because your ego has exploded this family. Logan's business is in ruins. Our reputation is suffering. All because you couldn't get over a joke and honor your commitment." I almost laughed at ego. Mom sniffed. "He's been devastated," she whispered. "You've always been the steady one. The rock. You're supposed to hold us together, not tear us apart." Logan shook his head. "You're unbelievable," he said. "You knew the app depended on you. You always said you'd have my back. Now look at this mess." Joan stood up slowly. "Enough," she said. Everyone turned to her, offended. "Joan," Dad snapped. "This is between us and our children." "Then maybe you should have thought about that before you started copying me on your little blame emails," she shot back. "You invited me in. So here we go." She pointed at my parents. "You two have been running the same playbook for decades. Logan messes up? He needs another chance. Nicole succeeds? She doesn't need the attention. Logan wants something? You move heaven and earth. Nicole wants something? You tell her to be understanding and hand it over." Mom's lips trembled. "That's not fair. Remember when she got into NYU and you made her defer so Logan could do prep school?" Joan continued. "Remember the art program you canceled? The summer camp money you rerouted to his soccer league? The car deductible you took out of her savings because Logan's record can't be damaged?" Dad bristled. "We were doing what was best for the family," he said. "No," Joan said. "You were doing what was best for the investment. And Nicole was the bank. And the maid. And the emotional shock absorber. And now that she's finally closed the bank and hung up the apron, you're calling it betrayal." Logan jumped up. "You're twisting everything," he yelled. "This is all about her wanting to play victim now that I'm finally getting somewhere." I looked at him. "Getting somewhere?" I repeated quietly. "On my money. On my time. On my silence." He glared. "You didn't have to give it if you didn't want to. No one forced you." I actually laughed. "Right. No one forced me. Just endless guilt. Constant pressure. Being told I was letting the family down if I didn't fund you. Being told that I could handle it while you needed opportunities." Dad slammed his fist lightly against the mantel. "Nicole, enough. You will apologize to your brother, reopen that account, and we will move past this. That's what families do." I stood up. My legs were shaking, but my voice wasn't. "No," I said. The word hung in the air like a firework. "I'm not apologizing for not letting you treat me like a wallet," I continued. "I'm not apologizing for not laughing when my brother calls me a maid in front of everyone. And I'm definitely not apologizing for wanting a life that isn't built around propping up your golden child." Mom started crying. "You're going to regret this," Dad said. "We are your family." I nodded slowly. "You are," I said. "And that's the saddest part." I looked at Logan. "I didn't ruin your startup," I told him. "You built a business that only works if your big sister keeps bleeding money into it. That's not a startup. That's a dependency." His face twisted. "You're dead to me," he hissed. Joan moved to my side. "Funny," she said. "Because she's the only one in this house who's actually been alive for years." We walked out together. Dad's voice chased us down the hall. "If you leave like this, don't come back," he yelled. I paused at the doorway, turned back once. "You've said that 100 different ways my whole life," I said softly. "This is the first time I'm actually listening." And then we left. After that, everything separated fast. Logan's world? crashed. Within a month, the $50,000 investor was gone. His co-founder bailed. His developers stopped working when payments didn't show up. The app went offline because server bills went unpaid. A couple of unpaid contractors started talking in local tech circles about that founder who screwed us over. He tried to land a job at a mid-sized tech firm in town. They did their due diligence, saw the online drama, and politely declined. Friend by friend, people stopped replying to his "Bro, can I crash on your couch?" texts. At some point he moved in with a friend of a friend. Then that fell apart, too. I didn't follow every detail, but I heard enough from Joan and from the echo of his online presence dwindling to know. The investment was finally experiencing something I'd known intimately for years. What it feels like when the safety net is gone. My parents? Their shiny image took a hit. The neighbors, the church folks, the golf buddies, they all knew Logan the prodigy and Nicole the dependable daughter. But people talk. Joan didn't protect their version of the story. She didn't go out of her way to destroy them either, but when people asked what happened, she told the truth. They drained Nicole for years to support Logan's dreams. She finally said no. He melted down. That's all. Suddenly, the perfect family narrative looked different. Invitations to dinners got fewer. Church friends stopped asking Logan to speak at events. Dad lost a couple of bids, with vague feedback about concerns over focus and stability. Mom's book club turned into a place where people whispered about her behind her back instead of praising her sacrifice for her son. Karma didn't strike like a lightning bolt. It seeped in like a slow leak, rotting the foundation. Me? I finally exhaled. I won't lie, the first few weeks after the blow-up were rough. I lost a few clients scared off by Logan's posts. My income took a hit. But you know what else happened? I had money. Real, actual extra money. That $3,000 a quarter did not vanish into a black hole labeled family obligations. It stayed in my account. I upgraded my equipment. I invested in a new website that actually reflected my skills. I hired a part-time VA to keep my inbox under control so I could focus on the work that paid best. I sent a simple, professional email to my favorite clients. You may have seen a personal post by a family member. I want to assure you that my work with you remains my top priority. I had been informally supporting a relative's business financially for several years and made the decision to stop. It's a private matter that will not impact my professional reliability or your projects. Almost all of them responded with some version of, "Got it. Completely understand. We value your work and look forward to our next project." My projects got better. My boundaries got stronger. I took myself on a solo creative retreat to Asheville, 3 days in a tiny cabin, hiking during the day, sketching mountain views at night. No brother asking for money. No parents asking for favors. No phone buzzing with obligation. I signed a $55,000 rebrand contract with a wellness company that found me through the mural I'd done years before. I built a steady retainer relationship with a tech incubator. I started sleeping through the night. Sunday brunches with Aunt Joan became a ritual. We'd meet at this little cafe in Durham. She'd slide into the booth, raise her coffee, and say, "To the girl who finally dropped the apron." We'd laugh. Talk about work. Gossip about our own lives, not just my parents' drama. For the first time, I wasn't defined by what I did for other people. I was defined by what I created for myself. So here's where I want to land this, for anyone still listening who hears themselves in my story. I didn't destroy my brother. I didn't curse his business. I didn't ruin the family. I simply stopped being the silent investor in a human stock that never paid dividends. I closed the account. I dropped the apron. I walked away from a script that was killing me slowly. The rest? That was just his choices catching up with him. If you're the capable one in your family, the one they praise for being so strong while simultaneously dumping every responsibility on your shoulders, I want you to hear this. Your worth is not measured by how much you sacrifice for the golden child. Family helps family does not mean you bankrupt yourself emotionally, financially, and mentally while they laugh at your pain. Saying no after years of saying yes is not betrayal. It's correction. At some point, you have to ask. If I stopped doing everything I do for them, who would I be? And equally important, if I stopped doing everything I do for them, who would they be? Because sometimes the karmic justice isn't you plotting revenge. It's you simply refusing to stand between someone and the consequences of their own actions anymore. I'm Nicole Perry. I used to be my family's maid, bank, and backup plan. Now I'm just me. A designer. A woman with boundaries. A person who gets to enjoy her own life. And if your family treats you like the maid, the bank, or the backup plan, you're allowed, fully, completely allowed, to quit the role. If this hit home for you, tell me. Have you ever cut off a family investment? Or are you still trapped in that role, trying to figure out how to get out? Drop your story in the comments. Hit like, hit subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear that they are not selfish for choosing peace. Sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't destroying them. It's building a life so calm and solid without them that you never feel the need to look back.